Welcome to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. Mr. Barber is a preacher, a ventriloquist, a barefoot runner, and writes 2 blogs. When Jerrie communicates, he encourages people, try not to learn very much. Find a mustard seed. In the next few minutes, try not to learn very much. Look for something you can do to move a mountain, remove a stumbling block, or provide a stepping stone for yourself or someone else. And now, here's Jerrie with this week's mustard seed.
This is our second discussion of guidelines for a good discussion. Listen to the previous episode to get the first part of this discussion. Next rule. Do we want to have a rule of confidentiality? What we say here stays here? This is essential if we're to develop a trusting group. Many assume elders, preachers, and other leaders will keep their confidence. This is where people are often hurt. Assuming isn't good communication. Too often, Christians don't keep personal matters confidential. I want to talk about this rule. What's it mean? What we say here stays here. What if we discuss the weather, read John 3:16 in the group? Can we not take that out of the group? In our staff meetings at Bears Chapel, we developed the church bulletin rule. If we talk about something in a staff meeting that we would print in the church bulletin, we can talk about it out of the group. If we wouldn't print it in the bulletin, we won't carry it out of the meeting. If there's any question, it's best to check with the person or people to whom the information belongs. Will I care for myself, telling the group only what I trust them to keep? After establishing this rule, I encourage new members to doubt as long as they need to. Anyone can say what we've just said. What we say here stays here. I believe faith grows through creative doubt. Creative doubt asks questions and sincerely wants to know the truth. I observed our third Monday workshop took about 2 years to establish trust in the group, where we could discuss serious personal issues. After establishing that trust in the core group, new members don't seem to diminish the readiness of group members to bring up what they need to talk about. Since August of 1988, I don't know of a matter getting out of the group. That's powerful. It's encouraging to have that kind of support group. If what I say offends or hurts you, will you tell me or talk about me to others? This is a powerful commitment. How assuring it would be not to wonder how we're coming across to others. If you realize after a group session that you didn't finish, will you bring the matter back to the group and work it out? This reminds us we deal with group business in the group. May we be humble instead of arrogant. If we don't know what someone's thinking or feeling, will we ask or assume we know what they're thinking or feeling? One of my communication mistakes is attempting to read minds. I know what you're thinking and act on that assumption. The only problem is I don't know what you think unless you tell me. The best policy is to ask. May others respond to what we say. Do I have to have the last word, or would it be helpful to get feedback? When we ask a question, will we be willing to tell why we want to know the answer? I may want to know why someone is asking questions. What will you do with information? Why are you interested? May a person decide to quit talking when they choose? In most groups, I don't require people to talk. Some people learn better with their mouths open, and others learn better with their mouths closed. Without pressure, each person can decide which works best for them. Will we attend all the sessions? If we must be absent, will we tell the group why? Being responsible to a group, a class, elders meeting, committee meeting, is a matter of courtesy. However, it drains energy from the group process when a member's late or absent without explanation. I wonder if they're sick, had an accident, forgot, or don't care about our work. This can be eliminated by a call, text, or email. I'll be 15 minutes late, or I'm sick and won't be able to attend tonight's meeting. Will we agree not to talk about group business during breaks? This guideline is especially helpful in groups that are learning how groups work. When we talk about group business during breaks, we deprive the rest of the group of our thoughts and ourselves of the wisdom of the rest of the group. If the meeting deals with conflict, it's easier to choose sides and plot destruction by subdividing and talking about others during breaks of 10 minutes or 2 days. While discussing and exploring new ideas, will the group allow any title, position, seniority, family relationship, age, actual or perceived net worth, chain of command, or level of management inhibit or repress any comment or idea from being shared and seriously considered? When this principle's ignored, a head elder often results. This may be a toxic head elder or a benevolent head elder. I think both hurt the long-term leadership of the church or any group. Are we aware that some of these rules will probably be broken? What will we learn about ourselves and leadership when they are broken? Can we ask and will we answer the question, what did you learn from that? These guidelines form boundaries that can sometimes be difficult to remember and challenging to keep. It can be helpful to hold ourselves and others accountable for following our agreements. If a guideline isn't helpful, it can be changed. Self-reporting is commendable and an opportunity to teach and permit others to analyze themselves in the group process. Will we agree to apply these biblical principles to ourselves before trying to fix other people in this group or those who are not here? Keeping everyone in the room during a class or group session is hard. I want to jump out of the window and bring in a friend or an enemy who needs to hear this more than I do. I wish John and Mary were here. They need to hear this. Those folks down the street need this. I call this the me first principle of Bible study. When studying God's Word or implementing principles I'm learning, the first question I need to ask is, how does this apply to me? May we bring up old business to clarify, discuss something further. Sometimes a comment is countered, we already talked about that. If a person isn't finished with an issue, it may need to be discussed again. Can we make additional rules, if needed, to help this group be more effective? This list isn't exhaustive. Some discussions need fewer guidelines and some require more. We had a no yelling rule in a meeting with anticipated conflict. As the facilitator, I've been told that previous meetings had ended in a shouting match, which was hurtful. It was suggested that I call people to account when they're getting too loud. I decided not to get in the middle of that group's conflict. We negotiated that when 3 people held up their hands when a person was getting louder and louder, I'd report to the speaker, 3 people in the group think you're getting louder than is helpful for this discussion. That helps the group be responsible for itself and keeps me out of a conflict that doesn't belong to me. In some meetings, we've had the "why are you leaving" rule. When it was informed that this group's meetings often ended in people leaving mad, this kept people from assuming that people were leaving angry or letting them know they were angry and why. In one preachers' meeting, the group requested the guideline, we will not talk disparagingly about any person not present. This came from a painful experience of previous preachers' luncheons that had developed into discussing who had done or said unsound things since the last meeting. This spirit had killed the meeting in the past. Would you be willing to share what you like about this group process, what's helpful, what's not helpful, and suggest ways to improve future discussions? This can be one of the most helpful guidelines for the leader and the rest of the group. If the leader is earnest and honest, he or she can model a learning attitude that encourages growth. I love criticism. When anyone loves me enough to tell me how to improve, that person's doing me a favor. If you find salmonella in my refrigerator and tell me about it, you're not hurting me, you're helping me. When I lead a meeting, I can choose the Amos rule. Can two walk together unless they have agreed to meet? Or the judge's rule. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Which rule I choose can significantly affect the effectiveness of the discussion. For a list of the rules without comments, or a PDF ebook of these rules with the commentary, click on the links in the show notes. What have you found helpful in leading discussions and meetings? Please send me an email for ways to improve.
Thank you for listening to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. If you found a mustard seed, send a text or email with the link to a friend. This podcast was brought to you by Jerrie Wayne Barber, Sales Manager with AmeriPro Roofing. AmeriPro Roofing has been around since the year 2000 and has had an office in Franklin, Tennessee for the last 10 years. We have installed well over 200,000 roofs nationwide and are excellent at replacing roofs, gutters, and siding. We are reasonably priced and outstanding at working with your insurance, which helps minimize your out-of-pocket expense. If you would like a free inspection of your roof and other exteriors, please call Jerrie Barber at 931-628-3390 for an appointment in Middle Tennessee. AmeriPro Roofing. Standards through the roof. Thank you for listening. Jerrie looks forward to next week as we continue to collect and plant mustard seeds.